Hi, Redlegs fans, and welcome to another episode of Redlegs TV for season 2012. Today we have a very special guest, a current player on the senior list with the Redlegs, Jack O'Leary. And Jack has a very interesting story which we'll take you through today. But initially, Jack, we're actually lucky to have you as a Norwood player. You were actually zoned to Sturt originally, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. In the under 13s, 14s, and 15s, I played at Sturt. Spent quite a bit of time on the bench actually, but and then I moved house for the under 16 season. So that was the best decision ever, I reckon, to move into this zone.
Yeah, very good. Yes, moved to the right zone and the mighty Redlegs. So you've obviously worked your way through the junior ranks and under 16s at Norwood. And tell me about that year. You had a fantastic year in the under 16s. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had a really good team. We went top that year, and a lot of those blokes that played in there are playing senior footy now. So pretty successful group.
And that season 2009 is where a bit of your story begins. You've were diagnosed with a heart condition when you were born, and towards the end of that season 2009, you've obviously have a regular testing of that and some symptoms there that it was getting stronger at the moment. Just tell us about what happened that year.
Well, I actually reminded Mum that we were due for a checkup on my heart because I remember when I was younger I used to get it quite a bit, and we went to the doctor and she said, I can hear the murmur again, just get it checked out from the cardiologist. So I thought, well, we'll go in there, wrap it all up and she'll be fine again. But they said there's something there not right. They knew there was something wrong, but they're not sure what it was. And so that began the journey of, well, until now, of just constant testing and indecision about what it was.
Yeah, so at that point, it was a little bit difficult for the specialist to actually diagnose what the problem was, but obviously there was something there. Tell us about what followed in 2010 and what had to happen with your football career at that stage.
Yeah, well, I wasn't having any symptoms on the football field. I didn't notice anything, so that was the main concern. Well, not concerned, but they just couldn't work out why it was the murmur there. But so then they said, stop playing football, stop playing anything that where there's strong exertion for myself physically, and so yeah, I sat out probably a few games, and we came back and they gave me the option of making my own decision because they didn't know what was wrong. So they said, it's your decision, do you want to play or not? And I said, yeah, I do, because we've got a grand final coming up. So I played in that, and then I sat out the rest of the season, which I think.
So a bit of a risk there to take, knowing that there is, particularly being your heart, that and a pretty serious condition, that there was a risk there for something serious to happen. Was that always in the back of your mind?
Yeah, looking back, it probably should have been a lot more than it was, but because it was so frustrating that they weren't telling me anything, I couldn't look up on the internet what this condition was and why it was happening. It was just there, and it was just something. So I made the decision that, well, if they don't know what's wrong, then I'm going to continue playing, because I did play the first 6 or 7 games of the season without issue.
So in 2010, there was a diagnosis given to you. Abbreviated version is HCM. You can give us the full version of that, but that obviously was a signal that you had to give away playing because of the risk of sudden death. And you obviously then got involved and stayed involved, which is a credit to you to stay involved and as a coaching role. But tell us about that diagnosis and that year of staying involved and not being able to play, and where your mind was at with that.
Yep, so HCM stands for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which essentially means it's thickening of the left ventricle, which is the chamber of the heart that pumps the blood to the rest of the body through the rest of the arteries and veins and whatnot. So that means the heart's working harder, and the wall's thicker, which if it beats too fast, too hard, then no blood's getting through, and that creates some sort of problems I don't really understand. But yeah, there's actually been cases on soccer in the Premier League. I think someone collapsed. It wasn't related to that one this year, but it was there's some well-documented cases on that. So they gave me that diagnosis, which was pretty shattering. I played footy since I could walk, so it was a bit of a shock, and I handled it reasonably well, I think. I did a bit of coaching with Oates, and that was pretty funny with him and Robbie Neal up in the coach's box. But really, not sure I would have lasted much longer doing that. It's not much fun.
No, you save coaching for when you get older. Play as long as you can, steer out of the coach's box. I'd advise, especially with Oates and Robbie Neal, they're a bit strange sometimes. But obviously your mum and dad pushed a bit harder with the diagnosis, and it led to further specialists and further tests, which obviously was probably fairly stressful. But that also led to going to Melbourne to visit a surgeon there, who saw you and then eventually said, sorry, I can't help you as well, and it was back to square one. And then following that, a further surgeon in Sydney came to and approached your parents and yourself, and tell us what happened then.
Yep, well, I don't think Mum and Dad were ever going to give up on trying to find a cure, I suppose you could say, for my condition, which they didn't actually believe it was HCM because they'd done some research and no one had given us a definitive answer on it was actually that. They said, that's got to be it. So yeah, we went to Melbourne. No, we went to Sydney first. Visited a specialist there he was an HCM specialist, and he said it's definitely not HCM because he knows and he's seen a lot of cases and it's not it. So then we went to Melbourne. I got referred there, and I stayed a night in hospital, which was not all that fun. And I got up in the morning and spent another day there. And at night he said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. He doesn't have the confidence to do it," which is fair enough. I mean, it's pretty dangerous. So we went home and went back to my cardiologist and got in touch with the cardiologist from Sydney, and he suggested to go to Sydney to see Professor Chard at Westmead Hospital, I think it was.
He sounds like a bit of the guru from Sydney, and so off you go up to Sydney to see the guru, and next minute, open heart surgery, just a small minor operation.
Yeah, like I said about playing, I didn't really think about much of the risks or anything. I just wanted to get fixed up, and I had full 100% trust in Professor Chard. He seemed like he was a pretty switched on bloke. He knew what was going on, and he was confident that he could get in there, and even if he didn't know what was wrong, he would fix it up.
And that's exactly what happened. He sort of went in, and what he saw wasn't exactly what he thought, and so that must have been a surprise for him. But the fact that he actually was able to continue the major surgery and fix the problem was, obviously fantastic for you. But it must have been an amazing sort of summary from when you came to and found out what actually went on.
Yeah, I found out afterwards that, he did get in there and he had a look, and it wasn't what he thought. It wasn't a membrane. It was, to cut a long story short, the heartstrings hadn't developed. It was just muscle. So he actually cut.
So you had no heartstring, is that right? Yeah, so there's plenty of jokes about heartstrings. You didn't have one at all.
Yeah, well, he actually shaved them all off. Well, he did something of the sort, but he peeled it off, peeled the muscle away, and created a bigger hole. So essentially that's it.
And from there, obviously, courageous to go through that, and obviously very stressful on your parents and yourself as a young individual and healthy individual. From there, to make the decision to come back and play footy again, was that always your aim?
Yeah, well, that's why we got the surgery. I mean, we could have left it, and I could have led
played cards for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, we were saying I could play golf or something, but no, I don't think so. And I think it was probably, especially the surgery, was probably harder on Mum, Dad, and my sister than me because I was under the anaesthetic. I was fine, but yeah, they had to deal with the stress of waiting.
And so the comeback, it was 2011. You started training again and had a full season in the under-18s that year, another year in the under-18s. And how did that go? Your first year back?
Yeah, well, I was aiming to come back round 10, so I thought that was a pretty good goal. Listening to what they had to say about how long it takes to heal, but it turns out the physio I had said, are you ready to play? And I said, yeah, bloody oath I am, and they let me. So I played every trial and every game.
And you find your fitness levels have gone to a new level. Obviously you're getting older, a bit more physically stronger. Do you think that you've noticed a difference in your capacity as a footballer?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot, whether I notice a difference, and I don't really think I have changed much. I didn't know what it felt like before because I had such a time off, and I'm just trying to put a bit of muscle on in the gym now and get physically stronger. Aerobically, I'm not great, but I'll work on that as well after a few pre-seasons.
And obviously 2012 now, you've played a full season in the reserves to date, and the team's going really well. So obviously you as a footballer taking the next step and looking to one day play in the league for Norwood.
Yeah, well, that's always the aim, is to play league footy, and especially at this club. You know, I've spent a lot of time here now, and yeah, that's the number one: play league footy, get bigger, stronger, and better.
And you've obviously come through with a really strong group through the 16s and 18s and the under 20 sort of group, and they make up a lot of the reserve side now. Is that some great mateships that have been formed there, obviously, and the team playing well. It's obviously a really strong group at the moment.
Yeah, well, coming through the juniors, Oates would always talk about how strong our group was, and I think we're seeing that now. Our reserves are top, our 18s are top, and the league is top. So pretty exciting times coming for the club, I think.
Well, Jack, it certainly is an amazing story, one that you should be proud of yourself, and so should your parents and your family. To hear these kind of stories behind the scenes, I think that's what the fans love to hear, and I think to have the courage and commitment to get back is credit to yourself, and all we can do from Red Legs TV is wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and hope you win a flag for Norwood, whether it be in the reserves as well and the league. So good luck, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.